Hello, and welcome back to True Crime Guys podcast. I'm Michael, and Andy was already working in the studio again today, so I just do you want to sit in on another episode?
Oh, you want to turn the camera on?
Yeah, you want to turn the camera on and record an episode of True Crime Guys since you're here?
Let me give the listeners a proof of life?
Yeah. That's right, dude.
Let everybody know we're not mistreating you.
That's right. See? He's fine.
I am fine.
He's
Where's the song?
fine.
Help me. It's a ransom note just comes up.
Right.
What's that thing from Homeland? My finger starts doing the twitch thing, just Morse coding it.
Yeah. Andy's sending a message to all of our YouTube viewers. You better put those signs away, Andy. Speaking of YouTube, you guys can watch this episode on YouTube. So if you've only listened to the podcast, go check us out on YouTube, True Crime Guys, and go subscribe and watch every episode instead of listening.
I'm topless right now. You don't even know.
You don't even know.
You could. I could be. You don't even know. Call me a liar.
That's right.
You only can on YouTube.
And if you need to be more distracted at work, the video will do that. Absolutely do that. And also, there's pictures of what we talk about and whatnot. Last week, we were on Patreon. If you guys missed us, and we covered the Texas Tower Sniper, which there is also a video for that. But you still got a little taste of me and Andy here on the free platform with Strange Shorts episode 123. If you guys did enjoy that Strange Shorts, me and Andy do that show every single Monday and is available on our Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys.
It is fun too, so please check it out. It's always a different thing. Sometimes they are, if you just see a free platform episode, that could be what it is the next time, or it could be something just completely off the wall. So
it could be.
Yeah.
You never know what Andy's going to find. But speaking of Patreon, I want to thank Sierra, one of our patrons, for this suggestion this week. It's a local case for Sierra, I believe. But yeah, Cheryl Felger, who we'll be covering in this episode. So thank you very much, Sierra, for that suggestion. And if you guys have any suggestions, patron or not, please, you can email us at truecrimeguys@gmail.com or hit us up on social media at truecrimeguys. But if you do want to join Patreon, now is a great time, actually,
really is.
because we brought back the gold Creep Van sticker. So years ago when we first started Patreon, we would order these gold Creep Van stickers, and for $5 tiers and up, you would get the sticker in the mail when you signed up, or, within a few weeks. And we got to a point where we couldn't get those stickers anymore. The company we were getting them from wasn't making them, whatever, but we got them now. They're back in. So if you're a $5 patron now and you don't have a sticker, we're going to make that right. Send us a message. We will get you a sticker, and if you sign up on the $10 tier, we will send you a True Crime Guys Gold Creep Van sticker plus a custom TCG patch.
Yep. That's right, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, that is the gold sticker that's on the back of my laptop that's normally on the screen. That's the gold Creep Van. That's one of the OG stickers from back in 2016.
I see you also have the OG Strange and Unexplained, back before I even knew what I wanted to do with a logo.
Exactly, man. I like to represent the old school.
I'm the type of person that I just start stuff, and just fill it out as I go,
Sometimes I just start a thought and...
It's just, I got to start. If I don't start, then it just becomes a thought, and then it's gone.
I just start a sentence, and it just ends up where it ends up.
Pretty much. That's podcasting. In most of our freeform podcasting. But something that's not freeform podcasting is Sandu Stories. We work very hard on Sandu Stories. It is written and produced in-house here at True Crime Guys. Me and Andy do most of the heavy lifting, but we do have voice actors from other people in True Crime Guys productions, like Lorne. You might remember Lorne from, 200 plus episodes.
That guy?
Yeah. You guys know him. Lorne plays a part in many of our Sandu Stories, as well as my wife, Lorne's wife. We have friends of Andy's have helped us out through the years. So we got Leroy from Excuse Me, That's Illegal. So we have a good time on Sandu Stories, guys. Lots of exciting stuff coming. And April 4th, which is the day before this episode came out, we released A Brush with Death, which is a story about a young painter, Edward Blythe, who is hired to paint a mural in an old church and soon finds out that its history is quite dark, and that dark past has come to collect a debt.
That sounds so familiar. Where have I heard that before? Did I hear that 2 weeks ago?
You did, because I said the wrong episode, you smartass.
I know.
I was getting to that.
I thought about it, too.
To that. Yes, I announced that this episode came out 2 weeks ago, and I was wrong. It was actually Home Sweet Homes, where I played H.H. Holmes, which was one of my favorite characters, honestly.
Yeah,
it was a really fun character. It was a really fun story to do. So
it's a fun time to
make. We did a true crime what if, based around H.H. Holmes. But yes, that came out 2 weeks ago, so I was a little behind on that. But this week's case, guys, like I said, it's a local case. If you're in the Indiana, Ohio area, it's not that well known. There is not a lot of stuff about this case. There is not one YouTube video, not one until now.
This son of a bitch made me read for this.
Andy had to read. He's like, dude, there's no podcast and no video. What am I going to do?
Like, yeah, you got to read.
What am I going to do?
But anyways, so Andy actually had to read for this one, as I did too. So there's not a whole lot of sources, but I did find some really good sources, and it is an insane story. It really is. The story in itself is riveting enough, and I also have a surprise story at the end of this episode. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't necessarily call it a good surprise.
No,
it's not a good surprise. I mean, no. I don't know. I guess you like true crime. It's interesting. Okay, it's incredibly interesting. And so because this case is shorter, I knew we would be coming up on an hour, so I wanted to make sure you get your money's worth. So we got a little surprise at the end. But you ready to get into it?
Yeah, I'm very much ready to.
Let's do it. We'll see you guys after the intro.
Now, I don't want to wish this on nobody else, 'cause here I am again, taking a stroll through hell. Why's it gotta be me? Wrong place, wrong time, it could have been anyone in town. Chalk it up to bad luck, I guess my horseshoe's upside down. Why's it gotta be me? Everything I worked for, the future I couldn't see, gone in an instant, no matter how much I plead. Why's it gotta be me? You wanna feel powerful, see what your hands can do, but you're born with an evil heart and your debt is way past due. Why's it gotta be me? Why's it gotta be me? Now I don't wanna wish this on nobody else. Here I am again, taking a stroll through hell.
All right, guys. Like we stated, our case this week is the murder of Cheryl Felger. So I want to give a little background on this case. It happened around Good Friday, which was April 12th, 1974. And by that time, the Felger family had experienced more than their fair share of tragedy. Starting in 1970, 4 years earlier, when Miss Felger, a wife and a mother of 2 teenage daughters, was driving to work in Indiana. Upon her return home, Miss Felger lost control of her car and crashed. She was dead on impact. Mr. Felger, after receiving a call from police, would make the drive to identify his wife's body, and 4 years later, he would make that drive again to identify the body of his murdered daughter, Cheryl Ann Felger. So let's back up. Like I said, not a lot on this case, period, so definitely not a lot on her childhood, but Cheryl Ann Felger was born April 1st, April Fool's Day, 1955, to Lee Jr. Felger and Ruth Ellen Felger. And like I said, we don't know much about her childhood. I assume it was pretty standard, happy and healthy. obviously, aside from her mother passing in 1970 when she would have been 15 years old. So very tough time. It's never a good time to lose your mother, but very hard time.
Yeah, for a teenage girl to lose her mom at 15.
Yes.
And I think she had multiple younger siblings as well, too, so.
Exactly. And Lee Felger, her father, had spent the last 4 years trying to be both a mother and a father to his daughters, while working full-time as well. And he was actually doing a pretty damn good job. Both of his daughters did well in school and appeared to have great futures ahead of them. Like Cheryl, his oldest, had just graduated from Van Wert High School and was among the top 10 students in her class. I believe there was 270 in her graduating class. That's a good-sized class.
That's a decent-sized class.
Bigger than my high school class. And she was officially now, at this time, a freshman at Wright State University near Salina, Ohio. Cheryl didn't know what she ultimately wanted to do with her life, but it really didn't matter. Her friends and loved ones said that she was successful at everything she did, and her future was sure to be a bright one. So, now that I've sufficiently broken your heart, let's...
Like always. Why else am I here?
Why else are we here other than to get our hearts broken? So, let's jump to that dreadful Good Friday, strong quotes there, in 1974, okay? So, April 12th, 1974 was a typical night in the Felger home. Dad was at work, and his two daughters were at home taking care of business in the household. Cheryl was only 19 at the time, had made dinner for her father and her 17-year-old sister, Kay. Since her mom had passed, Cheryl kind of picked up a lot of the motherly responsibilities in the household, like cooking dinner, cleaning, helping her younger sister. You know, pretty typical for an older sibling. You know, they got to grow up fast. You know what I'm saying? And then when they don't have a mother, they're growing up even faster. I mean, you don't really have much of a childhood. I think about the oldest daughter in Shameless. You ever watch Shameless?
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me of her.
Pretty much.
That's like having to literally take over the household.
Yeah, that happened, especially back at this time, back in the 70s, like that. When you lose your mother and you have two teenage daughters, this is a single father in 1974. So yeah, he's it's usually not the dynamic for the father to be a stay-at-home dad and do all these things. So he's doing.
They can't afford to.
Yeah, he's doing his absolute best. He's working a full-time job, and so yes, she was 15 at the time. Yeah. You grew up a lot faster back then anyway.
Well, she was 15 when her mom died.
Yeah, when she was 15 when her mom died. So it's like you grew up fast. You grew up faster back in the 70s anyways.
Right.
And when you lose your mom as a teenager, you become the mother, especially to your younger one.
Absolutely.
It's just kind of a natural kind of fill-in thing.
Yeah. But, you know, because she had so much responsibility, her father tried to give her the freedom and the time away that she needed.
Yeah.
Like this night, for instance. That night after dinner, Cheryl was actually planning to bike to a friend's house to meet up as they had planned a little night out on the town. Cheryl kissed her father goodbye, said goodbye to her sister, and took off on her bike. And they didn't know that they'd never see her alive again. Meanwhile, in another area of town, while Cheryl was headed to her friend's house, Ernest Richard Tope and Timothy Lee Heckert were on their way to Ohio from Decatur, Indiana. Heckert used to live in Van Wert and was planning on visiting his brother there. I guess Tope was just along for the ride. I don't know, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think these guys, I think they said they were kind of like just local buddies. They just.
I was about to say, you kind of find out later that Tope did know a lot of people in Van Wert. So I don't know if, maybe he was like, oh, you're going back to Van Wert? Maybe they were both friends who moved to Decatur. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way. But Tope and Heckert, they were always in trouble somewhere. And they were infamous throughout Decatur for their shitty track records. And they lived day to day. They had no real direction and honestly spent most of their time just riding around and drinking.
Yeah.
Prior to their little trip to Ohio, they spent the whole damn day drinking, actually. So this is always a great precursor to
That's
anything.
a good Friday. I mean,
yeah,
that's a good Friday.
Yeah,
that's the best Friday you can have. I'm just gonna spend all day drinking. That's how I celebrate Good Friday.
Right, but don't drive
Friday.
around though.
No, this is a good Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a quote from Heckert. I'm gonna let Andy be Heckert for this episode.
Tope and I'd ride around, drink on many occasions.
Yeah, that's a good quote. Yeah, that pretty much sums them up, I think.
Yeah, it's a pretty good relationship.
But they did a hell of a lot more than ride around and drink on the day they met Cheryl Felger. It was around 8:30 p.m. when Cheryl left her friend's house, returning home to change clothes for their night out. Also around that time, you got Heckert and Tope. Dude, it just occurred to me, these guys sound like a couple like strip mall attorneys or something. Heckert and Tope.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Heckert and Tope, attorneys at law. Better call Heckert.
Yeah, exactly. And if he's not there, call Tope.
Topo, Topto.
Either way, these two knockoff lawyers, Heckert and Tope, they were stumbling out of a local Van Wert bar. And as they're driving down the road, they start to hear a clanging noise. Apparently, Heckert's car had muffler problems. The kind of muffler problems where it just keeps falling off.
Yeah, when you start seeing sparks drag behind your car.
Those are the worst type of muffler problems.
Yep, I'm dragging again.
This was a regular thing. Like, they had to stop on occasion to reattach their muffler, I guess.
Yeah, the duct tape just kept getting hot and melting off.
It's weird, dude. It's weird. But so they pulled into a gas station, Clark gas station to be exact. I don't know, maybe some locals remember where that was, or maybe it's still there. I don't know. But they pulled in a Clark gas station to fix the muffler, and they thought they might as well get some gas too and, take a leak, whatever. So Tope jumps out and heads straight to the restroom. He's like, fuck this piece of shit. You fix it. It's your car.
Your car.
I gotta piss.
I just got these new white gloves. Right. I gotta go. Yeah, you got this.
Yeah, you got this. So Heckert threw on his work gloves and started to climb under the car. And while under there, a girl passing by caught his eye. And here's a quote from Heckert when he saw her.
I saw a girl go by while I was under the car, and I didn't know anything about her. But the bike had a flag on it, and she was wearing blue jeans.
Excellent recollection, Heckert.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. I did it.
You did it. Tope and Heckert then left the gas station, but Tope's driving now. They drove 3 blocks and then turned around and started heading back towards Decatur. That's when they saw Cheryl on her bike. Tope then told Heckert some shit about wanting to see a relative, and he turned onto the street that Cheryl was on. Tope then told Heckert, let's pick her up and have a little fun.
I was curious about this part because it says like that, they left the gas station and Tope was driving.
Yeah.
Do you think he was actually already following her?
Absolutely.
From the very,
he saw her. Yeah.
I know he saw her there, but I'm like, they kind of make it seem like, oh, they just happened to come across her again.
Here's what probably happened.
I'm pretty sure they followed her.
Yeah, here's what probably happened. When Tope came back from the restroom, Heckert told him about seeing Cheryl. Oh, you see that girl on the bike or whatever? You know how guys do. And Tope was just in the right frame of mind, and he saw her too, and just had to have her apparently.
Yeah.
So
been drinking all day. Thought, hell, why not? That's mine now.
Yeah, pretty much. It's as terrible as it is. So basically what Tope did was he followed Cheryl, then he pulled the car in front of Cheryl's bike, blocking her path. And then Heckert had this to say.
I told her to get in the car in a rough voice, and I opened the door. She offered some resistance, and I used force to put her in the front seat.
Tope and Heckert obviously knew the area very well and took back roads into Decatur. Heckert then stated,
I knew who she was by this time. I asked her name, and she answered, I'm Cheryl Felger.
Heckert also stated that Cheryl kept asking, why has it got to be me? I don't know what they said to her, if anything, but what they did to her became very clear during Heckert's interrogation, where he stated,
there were acts of natural and unnatural sexual relations in the back of that car. We did not stop the car. I drove while Tope was with her, and Tope, drove while I was in the back with her.
According to Heckert, Cheryl didn't fight him, probably because they told her if she submitted that they would release her in Decatur, which they did. They did tell her that.
Yeah, they told her that. Don't fight us. You're just along for the ride.
That's right. We'll let you out in Decatur, and you can catch a ride home or whatever. Those fucking lying bastards. But once they were done with Cheryl, both men hopped up front and continued to drive, hoping that the muffler noise would drown out their conversation. Cheryl eventually becomes frantic, and through tears streaming down her face, she asked them what they planned to do with her. It was at this point that Heckert claims he voted to let her go. But Tope wasn't having it. He said, I'm going to kill her. I want to know how it feels to kill somebody. That quote comes from Heckert's testimony as well. And why would he lie about that? That is such a profound thing to say. I understand that you want Tope to take the blame, but there's ways of blaming the whole thing on Tope. I mean, Tope did it, but he did commit the heinous act of murder. But Heckert did rape her as well. So, he's going to prison either way. But I just don't understand why he would lie about this. This seems like, you know what I'm saying? This doesn't seem like an embellishment to me.
I don't fully disagree, but the only shred of doubt that I have is because, like a bit of spoilers, Heckert is the one that testifies against Tope.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's where we get most of this testimony.
Yeah, so I feel like there's also a possibility that he would kind of embellish that he said he wanted to know what it's like to kill someone because it makes it sound like, oh, well, if he doesn't kill her, he's going to kill me. So therefore, I'm kind of the victim here.
Okay, interesting way to look at it.
I'm threatened too. So it kind of makes Taupe seem even darker. So that he's almost like trying to paint sympathy for himself,
right?
Since he's the one testifying.
Yeah.
So that was the only shred of like question that I had.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. But either way, Taupe seemed to have had his mind made up. So Taupe pulls into a small driveway near an abandoned barn that sits somewhere in Adams County, and as he gets out of the car, he pulls a knife out of the glove box. He then heads around to the other side of the car and pulls Cheryl out by the arm. Dude, this is some Jeepers Creepers shit right here.
Yeah.
Can't help but picture that. Like, right? The field, the barn,
exactly.
the rural road. Like, and Ohio is full of roads like this. And Indiana as well. I mean, there's full of just fields. Nothing, barn. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but anyways, here's how Heckert remembers the situation.
She tried to get away, and I saw her run, but Taupe pulled her back. I saw her go to the ground, and then I saw his hand go up and down. Taupe was in his stocking feet as his shoes were on the floor of the front seat of the car, and I heard a faint scream, but I didn't look back or get out of the car. I saw Taupe coming back to the car, and he was breathing heavy. And he told me she was dead, and I saw the knife in his hand, and it had blood on it.
When it was over, Taupe and Heckert hightailed it back to Decatur. At the first bridge they passed, Taupe threw the knife into a creek, and they continued on to a trailer park where Taupe washed his hands off in a lake.
See, that was when I read back his testimony, it kind of makes me think that he's trying to make it seem like he may have been killed if he said anything or if he tried to stop it.
Well, at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if he tells Taupe, hey, I'm going to turn you in at this point, yeah, Taupe has to kill him.
Yeah, or if he even says, you shouldn't kill this girl, but if Taupe's like, I want to kill somebody, well, don't kill her, well, then he's going to kill me.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why he's saying these things, to try and make it seem like, well, I had no choice.
Yeah. Well, they were doing their best to really clean themselves up and clean the crime scene up. Because when they got back to Decatur, Taupe washed his hands again and his shirt at a car wash. They also washed the car the best they could. I just thought this was funny. I was like, you could have just threw Taupe on top and like ran through the automated wash and then just get it all done at once.
Yeah, just let it lay across like Steve-O, just lay across the hood.
Just let those things come across and just scrub you. But then I thought, wow, they probably didn't have automated car washes in the 70s, but they did because they were invented in 1951. So
I'm still, for some reason, I still feel like they probably just had one of those like pressure washers getting the shirt and stuff.
Yeah, rural America in 1970s.
Rural
Midwest,
Indiana.
Yeah, you probably don't have an automated car wash there.
Especially since they've been driving for a while through like fields and barns. I don't feel like they hit like a big metropolitan strip.
No. But something really interesting happened while they were at the wash, though. Taupe asked Heckert for a cigarette because he had inconveniently lost his pack of Pall Malls somewhere, which would come back to bite him in the ass. Good for him. Speaking of Pall Malls, though, they were made in Reidsville, North Carolina up until the early 90s. Tobacco Town, USA.
I remember that. You told me about that last week. I was pretty interested in that as well.
That's right. Old Reidsville, North Carolina. So if you smoke a Pall Mall anytime before 1992, I believe, made right here, Tobacco Town, USA. But 2 days later, Taupe stopped by Heckert's place with a close friend named Danny Thornton. So this is 2 days later now. Everything seems cool. He's not hearing anything on the news. They think they've gotten away with it. Now they're trying to establish an alibi, okay? So Taupe told Heckert that if any police contacted him, to tell them that they were both fishing with Thornton. But it didn't matter what they told police because Heckert would be arrested the following Wednesday after his car was identified by witnesses at the crime scene in Van Wert.
So is that? I'm guessing that's the crime scene of when they abducted her. That's the only thing I was thinking.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe it could have been somebody who passed by the barn as well.
Possibly, but yeah, I was genuinely thinking it was because they said they kind of they pulled out of the gas station and she was biking down a street.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's like somebody probably saw them grab a girl. in the street or something like that. Because I was like when there's like a witness at the crime scene, I was like, was somebody out at the barn?
Right, I can just hear him trying to use that excuse. It's like cops are like, okay, so we have you here at this time, at the exact time of the murder. Can you explain what you were doing? Heckert's like, fishing. So you were in the middle of a field with an old barn fishing.
Fly fishing?
Yes, fly fishing. Good one. Oh, never mind. I'll let him go then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is that
I mean,
season.
everybody goes fly fishing out in that field.
I'm a bad. 'Tis the season.
But yeah, as you can imagine, that testimony did not work well. So things started to move quickly after Heckert's arrest. He agreed to testify against Tope, as Andy talked about earlier. In exchange for his testimony, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and a sentence of 10 to 25 years in prison, which could not be suspended. Heckert was the main source of information as far as the play-by-play goes to the jury. Now, as far as the autopsy, the coroner who did the autopsy, Dr. C.H. Pan, also testified, and he stated that Cheryl had sustained 6 different types of wounds. That included 10 superficial slashing wounds, 10 superficial stab wounds, 58 deep stab wounds, 1 bad horizontal slash across the chest cavity, 15 superficial wounds on her hands, and 2 penetration wounds that struck body organs.
That is 96 stab wounds.
That is 96 stab wounds. That is very good math.
Yeah, that is a lot. That is a brutal. The way that Heckert kind of explains, he's like, I saw his hand go up and down, then he came back.
Yeah.
To stab someone 96 times.
96, you saw his hand go up and down a lot.
He was out there for a bit. That's a lot.
That
of
also
damage.
gives a little more credit to the statement of, I just want to kill somebody. That sounds like somebody who went above and beyond, because this is not a passionate killing. He doesn't know Cheryl Felger.
Yeah, this isn't.
This is not a crime of passion. This is not a cheating girlfriend. This is nothing like that. So maybe he did have this rage inside of him, because, I mean, how else do you explain stabbing someone 96 times? That's insane.
Yeah, I understand they're both very intoxicated probably at this point too. They're both pretty drunk. They've been drinking all day.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to assume that he's probably not the most accurate with everything he's doing, but
Right.
still 96 wounds. It's over.
Yeah, he wasn't very accurate, and he wasn't very effective either, because the coroner, Pan, also stated that Cheryl did not die quickly. Quote, she died less than 1/2 hour after receiving the lung wounds, stated Pan. Those wounds were inflicted with great force. He also said Cheryl died of loss of blood, made exponentially worse by the knife wounds to the chest, which would make it difficult, if not impossible, to breathe.
Yeah, she basically, if she would not have died of blood loss, she probably would have just, choked on her own blood at this point. Like her lungs were filling up.
She suffered that half hour.
Yeah.
Absolutely suffered. The prosecution had more than enough evidence, though, at this point, even after going through a car wash. Can you believe this? Including the knife, Tope's drop pack of Pall Mall cigarettes as well, and the footprints of Tope in the mud at the murder scene. Because remember, he was wearing socks.
Yes.
So his exact footprint would have been in the mud. And they also had a prisoner who testified that while in the Adams County jail, he heard Tope say to another prisoner, quote, I killed that bitch, end quote.
Yeah, I feel like Tope's the kind of person who would brag about this.
Absolutely.
Because he wasn't afraid. He was the one who's pretty much instigating the whole thing. I
Yeah.
feel like the other guys probably were a bit afraid of him.
Yeah, I think so. And yet, even with all that, some of the most damning evidence may have come from Tope's good friend Daniel Thornton, the guy who was supposed to be his alibi. On Easter Sunday, 2 days after the murder, Tope went to Thornton and told him, quote, I am in a lot of trouble. We killed that girl from Van Wert, end quote. So there you go.
Don't even sugarcoat it there, bud. Don't even lead me in.
Yeah, that's extremely convenient. We got our guy.
I guess you're trusting me a lot. Okay.
Apparently.
Bad decision.
So Thornton said Tope read the newspaper and watched newscasts saying, quote, we might get out of this yet. They have no new clues. So he's sitting here watching, not only bragging about this crime, but also talking about how they're most likely going to get away with it.
Yeah, they think it's so random. They can't track it back to us.
It's like they got away with it for maybe like a few days.
Yeah, barely.
Right? But Thornton also described how he and Tope returned to the murder scene and tried to find the lost pack of cigarettes. Then, stopping by the creek to find the murder weapon that he had thrown off the bridge. They found neither one, by the way. They found neither one. I don't know how. Like, how'd you not find the cigarettes? The cops went right out to the crime scene and found them.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he had them, like, rolled up in his sleeve, and while he's, like, stabbing, he slung them, and
Like I said, I have no idea. I guess
what the hell?
They looked like they walked out and searched like children. Just got out of the car and were like, you see him? No.
I don't
All
see
right,
him.
let's go.
I don't see
Just
him.
got right back in the car.
Yeah.
Or probably didn't get out, just rolled the window down and drove by.
Well, they were probably
no,
paranoid.
yeah.
They were probably pretty paranoid about going back to the crime scene anyways.
Oh, absolutely.
So they probably, they were in a rush. But on the way home from their unsuccessful trip, Tope told Thornton, quote, I had to do it. I'm the only guy around Decatur that's big with red hair, and I was afraid that she might identify me. Once they got home, Tope quickly realized that Heckert's car had been towed away by police. He knew the jig was up. So he went to the sheriff's office where he made a statement and went with the deputy to once again search for the knife. Now, as you can imagine, a jury had no trouble convicting Tope. And they had no trouble finding the knife either when they went back with the detective.
Once an adult helps you, yeah.
That's right. But yeah, a jury had...
There.
Yeah. But the jury had no trouble convicting Tope. The death penalty wasn't an option at the time in Indiana, so they gave him the next best thing, which was life without parole. Heckert, on the other hand, he pled guilty to second-degree murder and received a sentence of 10 to 25 years, but unfortunately, he was released after serving only 14 years. And since then, though, has been brought back in court at least twice for unrelated crimes.
So I have a question about the last bit of so they have a witness that spots the car, and then I'm guessing the police, they haven't found her body yet, correct? So, but they still arrest Heckert because the witness has already tied him to it.
Yes.
But the two of them take the police to find the body, correct?
Right.
Yeah, okay, I was making sure because I couldn't really find that in the information. When I first read through, I was like, when do they actually get the body? Like, when do they find the body?
Right.
So yeah, they kind of just skimmed over that in some of the information that I was reading. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Like I said, there is not a lot. There's not a lot, guys. You kind of I read like an entire coroner's report and court proceedings to find out a lot of these like little intricate details, but even them, they're like buried in there. It's crazy. But a few years after Tope's conviction, which was life, Indiana law changed, making Tope eventually eligible for parole. This is some bullshit. And though he most likely would never get out, it was the fact that Cheryl's family would be forced to relive her horrific rape and murder again and again and again because Tope made the most of his opportunities. He came up for parole in 95, 96, 2001, and 2006, and they went through a full trial each time. He was denied each time, but like I said, her family had to live through that shit.
They have to go to the parole hearings.
Times?
They have to make their case. They have to relive that every time, possibly see him again. So,
yep.
Yeah.
So the last time he was denied was 2006, and by this time, Tope had spent so much time in court that he basically fancied himself a lawyer, or what they call a jailhouse attorney, and the national spotlight shone upon him as he fought for prisoners' rights in the state of Indiana. And what rights might that be, you ask, Andy?
Tell me what rights, what are these rights that he needed to fight so brutally tooth and nail for?
It's a good cause. It's a good cause. It's the right to possess pornography. He actually sued the Indiana Department of Corrections because they could not have nudie mags in jail anymore.
Man, it's hard to argue against this, actually. I mean, for you, no. For some other people, yeah, that's fine. They're adults. But you, no. You don't get it. You don't get it.
But I couldn't tell if anything came of it. I'm guessing nothing did. And honestly, like sexual predators like him, that should be part of, like Andy says, that should be part of your punishment.
Yeah,
honestly.
No, you don't get it. You are a violent sexual offender. You raped, you murdered. No, you don't get to be like, hey, I can't jerk off in here successfully. What's the deal?
Right? You're lucky you don't get chemical castration.
You're lucky you didn't just get killed.
Jesus. Yeah,
you're lucky you're lucky you're still making it in prison.
Yeah. Well, he's not, because he died in 2012. Yeah. He died of lung cancer on August 30th, 2012.
You get that Tiger Woods arm pump. Bam!
Right? Yeah.
Victory.
I can't help but, when I finish the story, I can't help but think about Cheryl's father, right? Like him and her sister. I mean, let's back up a little bit, because we covered the whole timeline of Heckert and Tope, right? But meanwhile, Lee Felger was sitting at home wondering where his daughter was when a Fort Wayne television newscast caught his attention. The newscast said that a body had been found in a field. He immediately drove to the houses of the two friends that Cheryl was supposed to be with the prior night, and neither one of them had seen her. He called Van Wert Police and the Adams County Sheriff and made the drive to Indiana. And just as he had done to identify his wife 4 years earlier, when he arrived, he identified the body as his daughter Cheryl. And like Andy said earlier, she had been stabbed 96 times.
That is the worst thing for a father. Like, not only have to do that for your wife, again to identify
4 years later, man, you're not even healed yet. I mean,
no, and I don't want to say at least, but when someone dies of an auto accident, they lose control of the car. there's easier ways to wrap your head around that.
That's right.
It's icy. There's a accident. It's raining. There's so many things that you don't have control over.
They didn't suffer. Maybe they died on impact.
Yeah, but
like
to know
his wife
someone took your loved one from you and brutally attacked them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just devastating for him.
No doubt, man. And Cheryl's father fought tirelessly every time Tope came up for parole. Like we said earlier, he had to relive that shit 4 different times. Sadly, Mr. Felger passed away in 2009. His dying wish was that his daughter's killer would never be released. And thank God, Mr. Felger did get that dying wish because Tope never stepped foot outside of prison. And he died, like we said, in 2012.
Yeah, at least he never had to go through another parole hearing either. Like the last one was 2006. So
that's right.
Yeah, never even got another parole hearing after that too either.
Nope. I mean, fuck that dude, man.
Yeah, how many parole hearings can you get? Especially when you're that
like I said, the law changed.
Violent.
When he got convicted, he was ineligible for parole.
Yeah.
And then the circumstances changed and he took full advantage of it. Like I said, he studied law and, tried to take it in his own hands to get out, but he couldn't do it.
Yeah, he seems more like just a weasel. He was one of the guys who just tried to find loopholes anywhere to get what he wanted.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to help anybody. He was just trying to get himself more shit.
Exactly.
That's what I'm wondering. How many times can you even be eligible for parole when you're a convicted rapist murderer?
Yeah.
How many parole hearings do you get?
Like I said, it depends on the state. It depends on their current laws.
I feel like if after the 3rd time they're still like, no, you're still fucked up. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're getting any better.
Yeah, I know. Especially with sexual predators, like it's very rare that they're able to be rehabilitated. But guys, that is all I could find on the murder of Cheryl Felger. Incredibly dark case. I feel like, God, I don't know. I hate to say that it's like a standard type case in true crime, but I feel like every town has a very similar case.
They do.
They really do. And maybe that's what has kept this case out of the spotlight because we don't know so much. But then again, we have Heckert's testimony where, almost a play-by-play.
Yeah.
But it is, either way, it's a heart-wrenching case. And I guess there was closure because the killer, he did die. Tope did die in prison. I don't know about Heckert. I guess Heckert's still out there kicking and, getting misdemeanors and shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I did. The only thing I did follow up, I saw one report that said Heckert was arrested 2 years later again, but on unrelated charges.
Yeah.
So it's like he went right back to his old life. He's just a deadbeat, low life who's just committing petty crimes.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly right. But like I alluded to at the beginning of this episode, guys, we have another story that we want to cover, obviously in a much more condensed format. But this is a little surprise case. This is a case that I discovered while trying to find information on Cheryl Felger. And it's not really related to the Cheryl Felger case in any way other than it's a stabbing. But it is a brutal, insane stabbing committed by a mother. So there's a woman named Debra Jeter. Okay, and in May 2009, Lester Lee Jeter, her husband, filed for separation from Debra, who was the mother of their 2 daughters, Kelsey and Kirsten. They are 13 and 12.
Michael, you're saying it wrong. It's Jetta.
Jetta. Oh yeah. That was the pronunciation of one of the videos that we watched for this.
We just heard English people apparently had never watched baseball. And
yeah, seriously.
Derek Jetta.
You don't know Jeter? What if it is Jetta?
I don't think it is.
It's Jeter. We're saying Jeter.
And
blame it on Derek Jeter if it's not. But it's not really clear why Lester filed for separation, but Debra was not handling it well at all, to the point where she actually attempted suicide in front of her children. Now, she did receive psychiatric help in the form of a stay at the DePaul Center in Waco, Texas. Her husband Lester told the court that he's still worried about placing the girls in her care. The court granted Lee a temporary restraining order against his wife, Debra, but Lee knew it, or Lester, they call him Lester, they call him Lee sometimes in different articles, but Lester knew it wasn't a permanent fix and pushed for full custody of his daughters.
Yeah, and this, if I remember correctly, this was only like a 3-week restraining order.
Yeah, it's not a permanent thing, but he, at that time, I think he was like, let's just do this now because we can get this passed and we'll work on getting her custody dropped pretty much. I
feel like that's such a weird time frame. I feel like you would think like 30 days, 60 days, something along those lines of like a month, but 3 weeks, like not even a full month, not a week, not like 48 hours, but that's just a weird time frame for me. I never really understood that one.
I know, right? But court documents state that Lester requested custody, quote, to protect the safety and well-being of the children and any other person who has been a victim of family violence committed by Debra Jeter. So in this document, he is alleging that she has committed some type of family violence. Wouldn't you gather from this? Okay.
Well, I mean, I would consider attempting suicide in front of your children as family violence, whether it's
absolutely
it's trauma right there. You tried to kill yourself. That's violent.
Absolutely. But upon her release from the DePaul Center, the restraining order against Debra had been lifted, allowing her full access to her children again. And here's what's crazy. By this time, upon her release, Lester actually agreed with the court's decision and supported his ex in seeing the children again, also stating that Debra harbored no resentment towards the children and has never hurt them. So he completely flip-flopped. And listen, your wife, your loved one gets out of rehab, and it's like, maybe they are better. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of it, right? And you want to believe that. So it's like you almost can't even blame him at this point.
No, almost like excuse my humor here, but it almost feels like she got out of rehab and just like fucked his brains out, and he was like, "Oh yeah, she's fine. I'll let her. She can stay. That's fine." Like that was my whole thought. It's like your wife came back.
Yeah, that is a really harsh way to put it.
And
Andy,
then like
we've all thought it. We all thought it.
I was genuinely thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, she just sucked your dick so well that night when you got back. She was like, oh yeah, my wife, she's a doll. Perfect angel.
I hate to. Yeah, I know. We were all thinking it. But in June of 2009, Debra's daughters, Kelsey and Kirsten, hadn't seen their mother in 2 weeks and were super excited about spending time with her. Here's a post from Kirsten's MySpace. MySpace was at the time, so there you go.
Yeah, that dates this story.
Right. Quote, "I get to see my mom tomorrow. Yay." So she was genuinely excited. Debra picked them up around 6 p.m. and told them that she had a surprise for them at the store. Debra had apparently promised them a night of book reading and karaoke. But instead, she drove them... Were you going to say something about book reading and karaoke?
Well, no, I was curious about the book reading thing. It was more or less like, was she taking them for someone to read books to them, or like to a bookstore? That's
a good question.
Because I used to go to bookstores all the time just to read.
Yeah.
Like just go find a few books I want to check out and sit down with a coffee.
Yeah. So I do love a good bookstore with a coffee shop in it.
Yeah, I'm like, that's actually an amazing night.
Nice.
So that's a hot surprise right there.
Yeah, exactly. They were excited about it. But instead, she drove them to an abandoned house in Laurel Hill County, where she almost immediately proceeded to attack her 2 daughters with a knife. Starting with her oldest daughter, 13-year-old Kirsten, who, while being attacked by her mother, had the wherewithal to scream at her 12-year-old sister, Kelsey, to run. Debra stabbed Kirsten one final time in the back before she fled after Kelsey, catching up to the girl and slashing her throat and killing her on the spot. Miraculously, Kirsten, the older daughter, survived the attack, but was living on borrowed time. Despite nursing a slashed throat, Kirsten told her mom to call for help. She pleaded with her mom to call for help. And by some miracle, she actually does. Yeah. And we have that 911 call. And guys, just a fair warning, this is very hard to listen to. It really is. The state that Debra Jeter is in is obviously insane.
Yeah, and
the calmness in her voice, it will give you goosebumps.
It is shocking to hear this, especially if you are a parent. It is hard. I wanted to remind our listeners one more thing, as Michael did say, like she stabs her eldest daughter in the back and then goes to kill the youngest one.
Yes.
She then comes back and slashes Kirsten's throat.
Yes.
And then her daughter pleads for her not to kill her. So it's not like she comes back and tries to finish the job.
Yes, she does.
So this is just brutal, guys, and we're going to play this for you right now, and just fair warning.
Hill County 911, what's your emergency?
I just killed my children.
Excuse me?
I just killed my children.
Where are you?
I'm in the abandoned house on Highway 77 right after you go underneath the highway. One of them's still alive. Hurry.
Under what highway? You're on Highway 77 where?
I'm on Highway 77 right after you go under 35 going towards Milford. Get an ambulance out here to save the one that didn't die. Come on. Hurry up.
What's your name?
Bitch, call them. Have you already called them?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay.
I need your name.
I don't want to tell you my name.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
'77 toward Milford. Right after you cross under the bridge, she's telling me she's killed her children. Are you in your car?
No, I'm not in my car. I'm in the house walking around. And one of them's still alive for real. She's asking to be saved, and I couldn't handle that. And so now
She's in an abandoned house at
it's
that
been a
location.
long time. She might already die because she's bled out a lot. And hold on. What, baby?
77 is
Stay still. What did you say? I want to talk to 911. She said, please send to her.
Okay. Well, we've got people en route. Get an ambulance because one of them's still alive, she said. Can you tell me what happened? Ma'am? Hello? Ma'am? Can you tell me what happened?
I can't get the door open.
You can't get what door open, darling?
The front door, so y'all can come in when y'all get here. Why won't it open?
I don't know.
Hold on. I don't see my one.
Are you on the right-hand side of the road or the left-hand side of the road, sweetie?
On the other house. It's going to be in the they know where it's at.
Okay, they're coming. They're coming. I just want to try to clarify exactly where they are. Can you tell me what happened?
I don't want to tell you. I don't see any lights. They're not coming.
Well, they're on their way. My partner's getting them to you just as quickly as she can.
Okay.
How many? How many children do you have? Huh?
Two.
Two?
Is dead. One of them is dead. She's dead. But the other one, she wants to be saved, and she needs to be saved, and I don't see any lights. Tell them to get the fuck out here.
Honey, they're coming. They're coming. Do you have any weapons?
I do. I have a knife.
She has a knife.
Should I throw it away?
No, ma'am, just put it in. She's got a knife.
Just hurry.
Okay, tell her we're on our way. She won't give me. Can you not tell me what your name is?
Well,
Huh?
hold on.
What's your name, darling?
I'm not telling you my name. I'm off the door.
How old are your children?
Hold on. You see that? Okay, okay. God damn it, hurry up.
Honey, they are coming. They're on their way. You should be hearing lights and sirens. Seeing lights and hearing sirens.
Going on, I'm gonna be with you if everything we have to see it.
You said you crossed under the bridge that goes on 77 toward Milford. You crossed under the bridge to 35, and you're in an abandoned house.
6125 or so.
Is that right?
Yes, under 35.
Cross under 35.
On 77, the abandoned house up on the hill on the left. Hurry the fuck up.
1-6, that's all being routed from Rubber Bend.
She says she's in the...
6125.
She's in the abandoned house? Yes. It's in the house on the hill.
Listen. Hold on, buddy.
Sweetie, do you hear them now? Do you hear those sirens and stuff?
What did she advise happened?
She's... Are you there?
Yes,
Are you still with me?
I'm still with you.
I'm at your way from over the bend.
But they're
Hello?
not here. I'm here. They're not here.
They're on their way, sweetheart. They had to come from different parts of the county.
Hold on, kid. They're coming. Tell them not to shoot me. I don't have a gun.
Okay. She doesn't want to get shot because she doesn't have a gun.
We told her the other time, so when they get there, tell them.
Okay. When they get there,
Uh-huh.
I want you to lay the knife down out. When you get the door open, I want you to lay the knife down so they can see that you don't have any weapons.
Okay. But they haven't told them to hurry.
They're hurrying, honey. They're hurrying.
The 117. Good. I'm going to be on the interstate, southbound, taking the exit, which way do I go when I get in the...
Okay.
I believe to the right, if you're coming northbound, I'm trying to find the house.
Oh, my God. She's dead. Oh, my God.
How old are the children?
I won't tell you. She wants you to hurry. She wants
Honey, they are coming. They're coming as fast as they can. They're trying to be sure. Do you see them?
They're coming.
Do you see them? Do you see them?
No, from her they were coming. Hold on.
The one dog thing, they back off in the tree.
Yes, they're coming. I see something.
Can you see the lights?
No, I see something down at the end of the road. I see car lights, but not fire lights, not police lights.
She
At the end of the driveway.
She says they're at, she
I
can
hear
see.
sirens. I hear them.
Okay. Do you see them?
No, I don't see them. But I hear them.
Okay, you
There's
need to.
people coming up the driveway.
I know, I understand that. I want.
Driveway with my hands up.
She stayed.
By the house, both hands up, except for one, because I'm on the phone. They're coming.
She's got her hands up, except for the fact that the one that she's on the phone with. So she's out in the yard. She says she's out in the yard beside the house.
Okay, goodbye. I see them. They're right here. Goodbye.
All right, bye.
Yeah. So, kind of hard to listen to.
Yeah, like we talked about, especially if you're a parent or anything like that, it is tough to imagine that.
She had some type of breakdown. She did, because just to talk that casually, and then also, I couldn't help but notice that she never referred to her daughters by name, or did she even say she or her? I feel like she's like, the other one wants to live. She just kept saying that. She's like,
one of them.
They want to live. She wants to live. Or I guess she did say she, but yeah, she would say like one of them. She's like, one's dead. The other one wants to live.
Yeah,
like
one's already dead.
Like they're just objects.
Yeah, one's dying. She's bleeding out. You better get here quick.
Yeah,
hurry up.
that's what blew me away about it, man. Just the nonchalantness about it. And then getting mad at the authorities for like not being there. It's like, my daughter's going to die. It's like, well, yeah, you slashed her throat.
You stabbed her. You tried to kill her.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Well, anyways, luckily authorities arrested her and placed her on suicide watch at Hill County Law Enforcement Center. Hill County Sheriff Jeffrey T. Lyon called the scene horrific, obviously. Kelsey was laying dead in the bathroom while Kirsten held on to life in the bedroom. Kirsten, was cut from one side of her neck all the way to the other, her father told CNN, and her airway was cut and one of her main arteries were cut.
Yeah, I guess she thought that slitting their throats would be the quickest way, but no.
No.
Not like
Those
that.
poor girls suffered. And Kirsten had lost a lot of blood but was conscious when help arrived. A medical helicopter airlifted her to Parkland Hospital where she underwent life-saving surgery. Prosecutors ended up charging Debra with murder and attempted capital murder, and the court set her bond at $1.5 million. Dude.
That is a lot. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it needs
exactly. I still think it's so amazing that like that girl was cut from ear to ear, basically. Her airway is cut, her artery is cut, And she still manages to talk, to reason with, to stay conscious that whole time.
Yep.
That is, for a 13-year-old girl, that is intense. Yep. And I can't even imagine that. How much blood could she have lost by that point?
Dude, it's crazy that she hung on. It really is. And then you heard, really, the response was pretty damn quick. I mean, they got there over the course of the phone call.
Yeah.
Honestly, in all things considered, that was pretty damn quick.
You have to just wonder how long before after she cut her throat, did she actually make a phone call? It's like, how many times did her daughter have to plead with her before she actually called the police?
That's a great point.
So it's like, that's an unknown window of time where she could have just been, because she even said, I think if you hear at one point, she says like, oh yeah, she was begging to live, so I couldn't take that, so I left. Like she says like, oh yeah, she was crying too much, asking to live, so I couldn't take that.
Maybe she snapped back from her little psychosis event and decided she wanted to be a mom, but then she realized it was too late.
Yeah, because then you hear her even like talking to her daughter a little bit, almost motherly, like, what's that? What's that, honey? What's that? I'm talking to him. Yeah, I'm like it's
they're on their way.
Like it's a sore throat, or like you broke your leg outside or something. Yeah. Her brain just does not register.
It's cringe, man.
It doesn't register what she has just done.
No. Yeah. Not at this point, anyways. But her daughter Kirsten responded well to surgery, and 4 days later was out of intensive care and on the mend. And I'm guessing today she is okay. There were other sources on this. Like I said, I just wanted to shed light really because of that 911 call. Like, it is so insane.
Yeah.
It's appalling. It really is. But just like sources for Cheryl Felger, the sources for the Debra Jeter case are below this description as well, guys.
Yeah, we did hear from Kirsten's father. He did say that he actually was able to take the surviving daughter to visit the mom in prison, and that because like we talked about, she had such a severe mental break.
Yeah,
she was not in her right mind anymore.
No,
she broke, and she said that when the daughter was able to talk to her, they shared a few moments of levity together. But he said he knows that they will never speak outside of prison glass again. No, like there's no way.
Absolutely not, dude.
You can't. You could not. I don't know. Especially as like the other parent, it's like how could you trust her again to be like, no, you can never have that back.
You can't, dude. You really can't. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it.
No, there's not.
But I hope you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hate to say that. I really do hate to say enjoyed.
Yeah, but, it's hard. Especially this is also a different kind of episode. We're kind of throwing a little bit of a curveball here at the end. And
right. Like I said, I wanted to give you, your full money's worth. Your full money's worth. Just like you get with Oh My Gaia. You know what I'm saying?
You get your money's worth there.
You get your money's worth with Oh My Gaia. You guys don't know what that is. Oh My Gaia is an all-natural beard deodorant and scented oil company that uses aluminum-free and paraben-free ingredients, guys.
How do you not know at this point, guys?
Seriously.
Get on it.
Get Oh My Gaia in your pits, in all your pits, right? Not just your armpits.
Oh My God.
All of your pits.
Any pit you got, put it in there.
That's right. And there's tons of scents to choose from, guys. From our very own True Crime Pine. There's also cherry almond and lavender and lumberjack, lemongrass, vanilla. Tons of scents to choose from, guys. Like we said, if you don't know where to start with True Crime Pine.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Start with True Crime Pine because you're already a True Crime Guys listener. I mean,
just
come
represent.
on. It makes perfect sense, right?
Then when everybody asks you in the office, like, what's that smell? You'd be like, True Crime Pine.
That's right.
From True Crime Guys.
Exactly. And because you guys are True Crime Guys listeners, you can get 15% off your order by using code word CREEPER. That's code word CREEPER, CREEPER, for 15% off your order at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram or ohmygaia.com. That's OHMYGAIA.com. Okay, guys? Again, code word CREEPER for 15%. You can also use code word CREEPER for Tonic CBD.
Because if you want to get the right vibes, Tonic is for you guys.
And you do want to get the right vibes.
Because it is true that not all CBD products are ever created equal, from how the hemp is grown to how it's processed and how it's formulated and put right into your body.
Boom.
That's why Tonic's products really stand out, and the original formulas that use CBD, adaptogens, and herbs and superfoods have been working together to
Gotta
deliver
get
the
the
most
adaptogens.
effective, intentional, and sustainable products possible, not only for us, but for the planet. Remember
right.
that planet.
That's right.
Tonic
Where we
cultivates their
live.
own hemp and from their certified organic family farm in upstate New York. And that hemp travels only 30 minutes to their distribution facility when it's turned into a finished product. It's all nice, it's shiny, it's packaged, got a
right.
guarantee right there on the box. And it has been sent to you to ensure the highest quality vibes for every stage of your process. And if you guys want to listen to us with those vibes in your head, just get those nice vibes and our sweet voices are in your ears, you can go to tonicvibes.com and use code word CREEPER for 20% off your order.
That's right,
Guys,
20%.
That's 20 whole percent. I don't even know how much you're going to spend, but 20%,
Yeah.
take it off.
Take it off.
Take it right off.
1/5. Get it out of here.
Take a little bit right off the top, guys. 20% off the top.
Now it's 80.
Yeah.
You guys get it.
That's math. I
That's
don't even
right.
do math very well. But guys, visit tonicvibes.com to learn more and use
right.
code word CREEPER for 20% off.
That's right, guys. And also, like we said at the beginning of the episode, please consider supporting us on Patreon, guys. Patreon.com/truecrimeguys. We're just $5 a month. You can get access to everything we create here at TCG Productions.
So much
Which,
stuff.
if you ask us, is a hell of a lot.
It is so much
We're in the
stuff.
studio quite a bit these days.
Yeah, the smell in here is bad.
It's bad, but it looks nice.
It does. The bucket's nice and emptied.
And if you'd like to see what it looks like, don't forget about YouTube, guys. Subscribe. Go like the video on YouTube. Tell your friends about it. We appreciate that very much. Our YouTube channel has seen crazy growth over the last few months since we started doing the, more, I guess, interactive videos, if you will.
Yeah.
Because when we first started YouTube, we just put up audio with a picture of our logo. But now there's actually video of us in the studio, and you also get pictures that are relevant to the case, crime scene photos, all types of good shit like that. So,
Yeah.
And you got captions that are automated by YouTube that are probably wrong. So
They're probably wrong.
You got that.
I just keep moving my mouth like this so that YouTube can never tell.
That's exactly
Look like an
right.
old samurai film.
I don't think it goes by your mouth. I think it goes by your audio, Andy.
Fuck that. I'm going to try and throw them off.
You're throwing me off, that's for sure. Kristen's going to be trying to line up the audio on this video and be like, what the hell is his voice doing?
I can't hear his voice, but his mouth just won't stop. I'm having a
Right on,
stroke.
guys. Well, we're going to stop our mouths, guys. We made it to an hour. So I hope you guys, like I said, enjoyed these two cases. I hope you learned something new today. If you enjoyed the show, like we said, go tell a friend. Go give us a follow on social media at True Crime Guys, wherever you are. And that's pretty much it. I guess you guys can keep creeping until next week.
Absolutely, guys. Oh, one more thing. Don't forget
is
our
it?
TikTok at
yes.
True Crime Guys
Underscore. Because True Crime Guys was already taken.
Yeah, bastard.
So my daughter Melody is helping us learn TikTok because we're two old fogies and we hate TikTok. So anyway, Melody is
His hairline. This is not a TikTok
this
hairline.
is not a TikTok hairline right here. So Melody is taking clips from our YouTube videos and putting them on TikTok. Guys, please go give us a follow. Go share our content on there. We appreciate that very much. Speaking of my talented and wonderful daughter, Melody, she has also designed a brand new merch design completely from scratch. It'll be not our first completely original design, but it's the one I'm most proud of. I really am.
It's the first one of the rebrand.
Yes, the first one of the rebrand. I think you guys are going to love it. We'll probably do some custom patches with the design first, and then maybe we'll release it on our Threadless page. So you guys can get that design on anything from t-shirts to freaking socks, book bags, tapestries, posters, hoodies, whatever you want.
Need to get some strange shorts.
Some strange shorts. You can put it right on the butt of the strange shorts. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Anything else, Andy?
Nah, I'm good, man.
You're good? All right. Well, guys, we'll see you next week for a new case. All right. Until then, just keep on creeping.
Bye. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to check out all the other shows on our TCG network, as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel. Starting every Monday with new episodes of Strange and Unexplained, followed every other Tuesday by our audio drama podcast, Sandu Stories. Then, of course, new episodes of True Crime Guys every Wednesday. And if that's not enough, head on over to our Patreon, where you can have access to hundreds of hours of exclusive content, including older episodes, strange shorts, the latest edition of Sandu Stories, and of course, higher thoughts. But until next time, guys, keep creeping.
You hush your mouth, boy.